पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम ब्रह्मानंदं परम सुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगन सदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। Om. Adoration to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasishtha, Utpatti Prakarana, section 14. Sri Rama asked, O sage, is there only one individual soul, or are there many souls? Are there many souls joined together, composing the body of the cosmic being? Simple insight is being given into the goal of all spiritual sadhana, the goal of life. Now the question arises, how many souls have to be to attain liberation? And how long it will take? And what will happen to the world if all that became liberated? Is that a question? Is a distraction? Simple illustration to understand the point. Think of countless reflected suns in so many jars of water. Each reflected sun we call jiva. Now the question, how many jivas are there? You will try to answer it if you are dull-witted. Because you're not dealing with mathematical number. Another point, all reflections are not realities. Give a plate of water with sun shining in it. And here is Uttarayana Marg. You northward. He's childish. And yet it's very profound to understand. Souls are not units. So therefore, no mathematical number is involved. How many souls have to attain liberation? And when a soul attains liberation, in the world of Maya, people are under the influence of mirage, rather Maya. Say, for example, one person understands this is mirage, and I will not go to drink from it. That understanding doesn't mean everybody understands. But whether everybody understands, only one person understands. Mirage is illusion. Beginning and end of it. If you follow that, then that will give you some clarity. Sri Vasishtha explained, O Rama, there is neither one individual soul nor many souls. In other words, it is beyond mathematical count. When we say Brahman is one alone, that one alone is said not in the same way as you are counting objects of the world. That one is a figurative term that also is indicative. It is not a conceptual one. It simply means denial of all multiplicity. Brahman is the transcendental, non-dual, eternal reality. The absolute reality is Brahman alone, the absolute. For allowing this understanding to settle, try to just have a very clear view in a very scientific way. All the world you are experiencing, does it match up to your experience? Can your experience of the world, the things you touch and say, it's hard, things are soft, smell, all through human nervous system. Can one human nervous system give you the whole understanding of all that is? Can one cell phone in your hand give you all about the universe? I'm joking, but try to understand that. So, certain things are so simple, but human mind doesn't attend to it. You go into lots of studies. When did the evolution start? When the monkeys started losing their tail. Turn to human beings. That perks up your eyes and imagination. But here and now, what is the predicament of your experience? If human beings have certain generality. All look through their two eyes. Their eyes are not on the back of the head. But there are animals that have their eyes set in different ways. Even among human beings, there is some variation of senses. Your touch may not be as sensitive as somebody else's. But that's one aspect. Another aspect, that while you touch, etc., from point of view of your senses, your experience does not end there. You begin to compare, contrast, and go through your memories about the object. You have sentimental world. Three lokas come together: physical, sentimental, and then more in the level of understanding, rational. And therefore, the world you are experiencing, firstly, it is special to you. The way you are experiencing, nobody can experience. You are a special person. But another speciality, all that you are experiencing is zero. Nothing. Nada existe. And you have simple illustration each time you go to sleep. All the world you have been working on, fascinated by, all move away from you. Not even your ego cares for you. And you are not at a loss at all. rather feel energized when you wake up. First thing you say, I didn't know anything. I was so deep sleep. Simple point is, reality in you as you should be in your real state, has nothing to do with the world. You don't need the world of sentiments. You don't need the world of touch, smell, etc., the practical reality. You are not dependent on the world of how your intellect has figured out about the world and about the past, present, and future. All that you consider your reality or reality of the world is being interpreted by your nervous system, your conditioned mind. And that could not be the reality. Therefore, living through your personality, try to give your attention to who am I? That am I is same reality in every individual. Your I am is the I am of all personality. The I am of Buddha. I am of Jesus. I am of Krishna. I am, that is pure Brahman, absolute. Simple way to understand. When you look at so many reflected suns and work about what is that reflected sun. Divine sun creates a revelation for you. I am. I am in every reflected sun. So that is the most profound truth about every personality. But how to deal with all that? That's where Vedanta philosophy, Yoga Vasishtha, has been designed in a most fascinating way, inspiring way. That's why satsanga is held, because it is a process of repeated insight, repeated affirmation. Brahman appears as the soul in every individual, as well as the entire universe. Again, I remind you, Brahman through Prakriti. Prakriti is Maya. Through Sattva predominating Prakriti called Maya in a special way. Brahman plays the role of Ishvara. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. They are not realities. As long as you are gripped by ignorance, all this becomes real in relation to your conditioned consciousness. Just like dream becomes real to you as long as you are dreaming. So, the entire world is a long dream. And in that dream, all are there, Ishvara, with all the glories of Shiva, Brahma, Vishnu. Then comes same Brahman manifesting as countless jivas. As many minds, so many reflected souls through the mind. Mind is like a little pond of water. And every mind is interpreting the I am according to its own way, how it has been constructed through samskaras, vasanas. Every pot is defining the sun in its own way, depending on what type of water, what type of form of the pot, how shaking it is, if there are some other animals in it, and so forth. The sun remains just the same. So through sattva predominating Prakriti, Brahman plays that role. Through rajas predominating, called avidya, Brahman expresses through countless souls. There's no way you can count them. And Brahman, through tamas predominating Prakriti, manifests as the world of matter. Matter in a profound way. Subtle elements that go to compose your very psychological structure of your mind, your ego, your intellect, your pranas, your senses, all are constructed by subtle elements, until those subtle elements become gross elements. Those gross elements go to compose all the physical realities of the world. And all this is nothing but Brahman. Not a single particle in the world is something that can say, oh, it's rubbish. All is Brahman. That's the pure consciousness creates the illusion of the ego. The ego in turn becomes intensified into the form of the mind, the senses, and the various elements which constitute the world. But just as ripples and waves are one with the ocean, or breezes and storms are one with air, so the world is one with Absolute. Brahman alone exists. Moonlight is a sportive expression of the fullness of the moon. Giving another simile, look at the moon. Moon is just one. But look at moonlight. How many displays of light come through the moon. But all those illuminations that occur through the moon, see, clouds shimmer, the moonlight creates a special effect on petals and trees, etc., etc. Countless. But behind all that, you are not counting the moon. How many moons are there? There's only one moon. In the same way, the world is like the light emanating from the moon of Brahman. All multiplicity of the world, nothing but the rays of divine moon. Moon is highlighting, when we use sun, it highlights in your mind a little bit of fluttering and ferocious. But the moon, calm and cool. So different similes are used if sun does not match up with your understanding. Sun is Chit. Moon is Ananda. Same Brahman is described as Sat, Chit, Ananda. Chit compared to the moon, rather the sun. Ananda, moon. Nothing to do with real sun and moon. They are allegorical. When intuitional knowledge of the Absolute arises, one discovers oneself as Brahman. And in that discovery, nothing exists other than Brahman. The world of matter is nothing but Brahman. And the world, as I have already explained, the world of your senses, your feelings, your rational understanding, all are nothing but Brahman. Just like in your dream, so many things go on in your dream. But All that is nothing but your own consciousness that is creating the illusion of all the dream world. And the illusion is being created just like a lake creates illusions by showing so many reflections in it. You look into it, something is reflecting. And your attention moves away from the lake to what is being reflected in. And sometimes what is being reflected in it is the error of your own eyes. I'm joking. So, firstly, you are led to understand that all that is reflecting is nothing but the lake. Secondly, all that is reflecting is not real. It's just Maya. In modern terminology, in a cinema show, all that you are watching is nothing but the screen. And in spite of all wonderful drama that goes before you, they're nothing but the magical play of the screen. The screen is becoming everything before your eyes. You have to figure that out. When the intuitional knowledge of the Absolute arises, one discovers oneself as Brahman. One realizes, I am the self that cannot be pierced, that cannot be dried up, cannot be consumed by fire. I am all-pervading, immutable Atman. These are, and many similar words will be given to you so that you allow your mind to work upon those. Even these words become symbolic because Brahman is beyond words. Even you say beyond words, it is limited. It's not a real description. Brahman is Satchidananda. But Satchit Ananda is the climax of what he can be led to come closer to Brahman in symbolism. But every symbolic suggestion is like pointing a finger. Put your finger to a person, see, that's the pole star. But the person first sees your finger. And if he stops at your finger, he has made a big mistake. While the ignorant abide in illusion and continue to create illusion in others' minds with their endless talks and discussions, palabras, lots of about what is real. The enlightened sages have no need to waste their vocal energy. Those who realize the real understanding doesn't require trying to prove it to others. As long as you need others to support you about your understanding, it is fake, hypocritical movement. Simple way to understand. Go to somebody. Do you think I'm feeling well? What do you say? But it puts a problem. The person who are asking wants you to be happy. Oh, you look so wonderful. Just give you a sample of what worldly reality is. From the point of view of the intuitive vision, this world is nothing but Brahman. Devoid of Brahman, this world has no existence at all. This world is a wave in the ocean of consciousness, a golden bangle of which gold is the only reality, a flame of which fire is the only truth, a sugar candy of which sugar is the only essence, or the coolness of ice, which is nothing but ice. All these just a sample of literary expression, literature, giving so many similes. As the sage continued his teachings, the day declined. It was the time of sunset. This again the drama. It went on according to the storyline for a month or so. Every day, Vasishtha started in the morning, and there was some time set for it. Morning session, afternoon session, evening session. And then next day. And so this is at this stage, the day declined, the time of sunset. Therefore, directed by sage Vasishtha, the assembly of the sages, saints, and seekers of spiritual wisdom retired to their homes for the performance of their daily duties. When the night elapsed and the sun shone again in the eastern horizon, they reassembled in the royal court of King Dasharatha, desirous of listening to more of the nectarine teachings of sage Vasishtha. And fortunately, you don't have to spend whole night. Section 15. Now sage Vasishtha introduces a story. Stories are very fascinating, and they lead your mind to grasp the subtle truth that we have been explaining before. O Rama, just as a statue exists in a marble rock before it is carved. You are looking at a marble rock, and an engraver, an artist, out within the rock, he creates a little picture. He can make a structure that is divine or demoniac. Or he can make some structures that are like animals, birds, or whatever. How did all those creatures came out of the rock? They didn't come out of the rock. And even though they are being interpreted as different images, there's nothing but rock. So this is an illustration to just, and very simpler illustration is your dream. How does your own consciousness carve out all your dream pictures? I'm using words to give a little struggle. The particles of dust that scintillate in a beam of light coming through a slit in a window into a dark room are indeed subtle compared to the mountains. I'll try to understand. It's another. In a dark room you enter. It is dark because all doors are shut. But through a little hole in the window, or many little holes, beams of light begin to enter your house. When you look at the beam of light, you find there are countless little particles, dust particles, scintillating Try to imagine each dust particle as a universe, as a whole world system. Now try to mathematically figure out how many world systems are there. Idea is, world system doesn't have a reality. Illusions can't be counted. Even in your dream, you are looking at a mountainous place. You can't count all your mountains and come up with a figure. And wake up and say, oh, there was exactly so many mountains I saw. All this in a very roundabout way you are being told. It simply implies that everyone experiences the world totally in one's own way. It doesn't match up with anybody else's. There may be 1,000 babies are born, maybe at the same time, astrologically in the same condition. Yet each soul is led by its own karmic process. The objects seen in a dream are not as concrete as the objects of waking state. In the same way, this world process disappears like the contents of a dream when one enters into the state of intuitional vision of the self. Dream disappears, leaving behind a relatively pure consciousness. So too, the world disappears in the state of enlightenment. What is left is absolutely pure consciousness. To illustrate this fact, I will tell you the story of Mandapakyan. Mandap is a canopy. It's related to a royal palace. And people, royalties, live under canopy type of the roof. That's called mandap. Greater the king, greater the mandap. Richer you are, better your mandap. I will tell you the story of Mandapakyan, the world existing in the corner of a house, also known as the story of Leela. Leela word has become so famous from the sources in Yoga Vasishtha. Literal meaning of Leela is divine sport. The whole world is Leela of God. Sri Rama said, O Venerable Guru, please tell me the story of Leela. The moment someone says, I'm going to tell you the story, ears perk up. Tell me. I'm eager to attain self-realization. And with the help of this story, you will give me a deep understanding of the divine self. Sri Vasishtha said, O Rama, long, long ago, that's how the story starts. There lived a king known as Padma. His name meant lotus. And he was a veritable lotus, delighting the hearts of his subjects. He was exceedingly righteous and endowed with excellent qualities. He was a valiant hero in battle. Like the fierce rays of the sun, he used to scatter his enemies. Just as Manasa Lake in the Himalayas is the abode of swans, so too he was an abode of all excellent qualities, such as charity, generosity, compassion, manifold other aspects of goodness. Point is being given to you at this stage. that even though you have received all this description of a person, this is not the goal. Why? If the person with all these qualities continues to view himself as body, then it ends up inflating the ego. And you always have a simple understanding, I'm better than all these heads. I secure heaven for easily, and these people will take long time for their heaven. They deserve to go to hell. I'm joking, but following strictly the storyline, the king has no negative feeling about others. He is very generous, full of good qualities. But he is not enlightened. Simple point also to understand, in order to attain enlightenment, your karmic structure must become very good. Then only you will move away from sakamya to nishkamya. If you are not doing good karmas, the choice in your mind whether I should go after fruit or renounce the fruit and go after God, that choice will not develop in your mind. Only when you are doing good deeds that you have the possibility to see the distinction between good karma leading you to lots of worldly pleasures and you follow that, or good karma opening the window to enlightenment through bhavana shuddhi. You can make that choice by being good and doing good. His wife, Leela, was equally endowed with essential virtues, beautiful and charming in her appearance. She was even more beautiful in her inner life. She had wonderful qualities, like a beautiful vine in the spring season, laden with blooms. It's a literary description. A vine in a tree and a lot of blossoms in it. Deep down in the vine, it's the divine process. Sparkling like the Ganges water, she sported like the swans that soar in the vastness of the blue sky. That was her bhavana level, feeling aspect. When your feeling is highly purified, your soul soars like a swan. A crest jewel among ideal women, she was deeply devoted to her husband. She was joyous in the joys and sorrowful in his miseries. She followed the king like his reflection, but with only one exception. When the king was angry, she didn't show anger. Figure that out. You shouldn't match up with anybody in all detail. Good points, harmonize. But when he becomes angry, she stays calm. But otherwise, when he's happy, she's happy. When he wants to dance, she will dance. Want to sport, she will sport. He'll join, do everything. But when he scolds somebody, she keeps quiet. When he uses negative qualities expressing in him, she keeps quiet. Figure that out, you see. That's how spiritually sensitive family must move. So, when the king was angry, she did not show anger, but awaited with patience for the waves of agitation in his heart to subside. In the next section, Sri Vasishtha continued, King Padma and his beautiful queen Leela pursued the pleasures of the world with profound mutual love. There was not a tinge of artificiality in their loving relationship. They sported in the gardens, by lakes adorned with blooming lotuses, in green valleys, and by the banks of the rivers. They listened to the stories of villagers, entertained themselves by listening to the devotional stories of the Puranas. You must realize not only these entertainments, Satsanga stories was also involved in their pleasure. Listening to the stories, Puranas, Itihasas, and being in Satsanga, that spices up your life in a profound way. They played amusing games. Those games were different from games of our times. I'm joking. Decked themselves with beautiful ornaments and spent their youthful days pursuing the variety of joys of life. But time passed rapidly. It's one defect with having a lot of happiness in life. Time passes by fast. Leela became aware of the fact that one day their youthfulness would come to an end, that they would fall prey to old age and death. She wanted to find a method by which she could avert death for her husband and thus secure immortality for him. This aspect was, she did it in secret, not telling King Padma, but exploring all possibilities, how to allow the husband to live long and to avert his death. Queen Leela consulted the Brahmins, who told her about various psychic powers that develop as a result of japa, tapa, yama, niyama, samadhis. But it is impossible to secure immortality on this earth. So all that ended with but. Hearing this, she became aware of the pathetic end that had to come to their excellent joys. She thought to herself, if I were to die before my husband, I would abide in this self and be free from all the sufferings of life. But if my husband dies before me, at least I will try to secure a residence for his soul here in our own palace. She started using her foxy mind. Even if he dies, let his soul stay right in this palace. Thus I would enjoy a perpetual proximity with him. Let me worship Goddess Saraswati and secure my desire. Having resolved this in her mind, Queen Leela practiced austerity and devotion to secure the favor of Goddess Saraswati. Saraswati is the source of inspiration, the deity of knowledge, the goddess who is the very embodiment of wisdom. But all this worship, etc., she did. She kept all this secret from her husband. She practiced various forms of spiritual disciplines, such as fasting, serving her guru and other spiritually enlightened people, bathing in holy waters, giving wealth in charity, and practice of meditation. In spite of her spiritual disciplines, she did not neglect, even in the least, her duties towards her husband. As time passed, Goddess Saraswati, pleased with Leela's austerities, appeared before her in order to shower her grace. Goddess Saraswati asked, "O child, I am immensely pleased with the austerities you performed as an expression of your love for your husband. Please ask any boon that you desire." Queen Leela asked, "O goddess, you are the blazing fire that dispels the darkness of age and death. You are the mother of the universe. I am a suppliant at your lotus feet. Please protect me. Please grant me two boons. First, if my husband dies before me, let his soul stay in this palace. And for my second boon, whenever I pray to behold your divine form, may you appear before me." So, she made herself very secure. Goddess Saraswati said, "May it be so," and disappeared like a wave that subsides in the vast ocean. The joys of Queen Leela knew no bounds. Time revolves like a wheel. Months and fortnights form the circumference of the wheel. The seasons are the circle close to the axle. Every moment is the hub of this wheel. The days and nights are the spokes, while the year is the axle on which the wheel revolves. The entire time process is described like a big wheel. Thus, as this wheel continued revolving, seconds became minutes, minutes became hours, hours turned to days, days turned into months, and they paved the way for the passage of years. That's experience everybody. That's what has happened to you. Now, this paved the way for the passage of years until King Padma came close to his physical end. Wounded in a battle, King Padma was brought into the palace where he died. Queen Leela was grief-stricken. She was like a withering lotus deprived of the life-sustaining water of a lake. She writhed in agony like a wounded deer. Section 17. While Leela was immersed in grief, Goddess Saraswati spoke as a mystic voice ringing coming from space. Goddess kept herself invisible. "O child, keep the dead body of your husband carefully covered under flowers. You will eventually find your husband. These flowers will not wither, and the dead body will not decay. It will come back to life in a short while. In the meantime, his spirit will continue to dwell in the palace." So, at this stage, Leela receives what she had expected to receive. That the husband, spirit is right there, and dead body is, that spirit is going to come back to the dead body, and dead body will come to life. And all this is confined to the space within that royal palace. Now, what the story is opening to, From Leela's point of view, everything was secure right there. But king's spirit goes into another world where he is within few hours in his plane. The king's spirit is already a ruler somewhere. He's 12-year-old, involved with so many problems or so many practical realities. I'm just giving you a little glimpse of what future is going to bring. In other words, you can't confine anybody. That place is not nowhere. Soul's experience is not dependent upon where you are living. And where you are living is again a big illusion. Even geographically, where are you living? In the universe, the earth is moving every moment. It doesn't have any residence. So where are you living? And you go to bed to sleep, and dream arises. Where does the dream live? Where does the dream exist? So you are being led to understand that within the corner of your room, a whole universe can exist. And in the corner of that universe, the room within that universe, another universe exists. This was the big thing to understand in old times. In modern times, a very simple way to understand. Open a file in your computer and put a file into it. Open that file, put another file into it. Just one little corner of the file opens another file. A little corner of that file opens another file. And you have world within the world. So you have to resolve the problem of the world. And now work upon it. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.